The US Congress just said that they'd like to put more than $37 trillion into the XRP ledger so that it can be used for payments. They think that other countries like China and Russia want to take over the whole blockchain environment and are making XRP more useful on a global scale. To get around this US congressman actually wants the US to take over and control XRP, buying it back in its entirety so that China and Russia can't get into this huge market. This is very important because it means that XRP will be worth at least $37 by October. This really is in days. Ripple's CTO, David Schwartz, has said that more than one central bank is coming to the XRP system and that these banks will have to set the price of XRP. The Federal Reserve, which is the central bank of the United States, is one of them. The other is the Bank of America. And don't forget this because it will blow your mind completely. But Garling just left not long ago. This is new. In the same way that Days says that our clients are banks, other financial companies, and payment providers, everything here proves the same thing. The US Congress wants to take over XRP and the XRP ledger using its own technology. This will make each XRP worth $37 in just a few days. But before we get into the specifics, we need to tell you guys a little more. Today we've teamed up with Apple to give everyone watching this video up to $100 free XRP. There you have it. The whole thing takes less than 5 minutes. I'll leave the Apple link in the text below, but it's really just a chance for you to get free money that you can use to buy XRP. It's also important not to forget about the XRP price, which has gone down about 2% in the last 24 hours. In general, though, the numbers show that the price is going up. The all-time high is almost 50,000%. Now let's start with this because it's important to know that the $650 trillion transfer of wealth, which is the largest in history, is about to begin. It will happen on the XRP record because look at this. The US government has publicly given institutions and banks the go-ahead to start using XRP for all payment processes. This means that companies like JP Morgan, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and Wells Fargo can now use the XRP ledger and XRP technology. These companies can start buying XRP and using the technology while integrating it into their payment infrastructure to settle all payments using XRP's technology and database. The United States Congress has shown this to be true, which is where this clip really makes its most important point. They not only put out a paper, but they also made it clear that they want to add a USDA digital dollar to the XRP ledger. This would add $37 trillion to the XRP ledger and to XRP itself. Now, I'm going to take a moment to play the clip for you all because this is huge news. CBDC is one type of digital dollar that can be used by anyone. It would be issued, backed, and controlled by the Federal Reserve, and the US government would fully back and trust it. This could be an option to current payment methods. It would have benefits like instant payment settlement, allow cross-border transactions, and help more people get access to money. Over 130 countries have started to look into making their own digital currencies that are backed by the government. Japan, China, Russia, and India have already started pilot projects. As early as 2028, a digital euro pilot could begin. At the same time, the US is still a long way behind, even though there is more and more clear knowledge about the features of digital cards, CBDC. That was really big. The most exciting part is by far what you're about to see. What is going to make XRP worth thousands of dollars? People don't believe me when I say that XRP and the XRP system will soon rule the market. But look at this news. The $654 trillion is about to be added to the XRP system. In fact, if we look at things on a larger scale, more than 1.25 quadrillion will be added to the XRP ledger after Ripple joined forces with the International Settlement and Various Association, ISDA. This means that over 1.254 quadrillion of that is about to be moved onto the XRP ledger through something called a real token, and this information has been checked. Look at this. Along with JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, BNY Mellon, and more than 1,000 other financial companies from 79 countries, Ripple has joined the ISDA and will trade in derivatives in a market worth $1.25 trillion. But look at this right here. Brett Kelling also confirmed this exact case. You know what's going on. He says that the end goal for XRP is to connect it to almost all banks in the world, both directly and indirectly. And the price of XRP would have to represent how widely it will be used and how much of it will be used, because there is a limited supply of XRP and a huge demand for it. The price of XRP would have to be higher for it to be more useful. This is a good point, as Arthur Britt, the founder of XRP, made it clear in a statement. They said that XRP is only made for 10,000 people and needs to be expanded to connect 7.5 billion people. In other words, words, the $10,000 price has already been chosen. In fact, David Chawson, Ripple's other founder and current CTO, said that XRP is more useful at $1 million than at $1. Why? Because once more, it lowers fees and speeds up and simplifies operations. To make a very important point, the price of XRP is $3 right now, which is much lower than where it should be at $10,000. The more useful number is 10,000, and it's happening right in front of Rise as billions and trillions of others are added to the XRP record. Case in point, look at this. Really, a huge company that is also on the XRP ledger just revealed that you can now buy real estate in more than 50 locations around the world on the XRP ledger and with their own token, real token, which is built on the XRPL. This means that more than 10,000 homes worth more than $2 billion have been added. You can now buy $2 billion on the XRP ledger using the native token of the XRP ledger, the real token, because it's so easy. To buy an asset, all you have to do is turn real XRP into a token. This means that everything happens directly on the XRP record. Another thing they said was that they were going to be growing very quickly over the next few months. A lot of people will come in and out of the area. Why? Because they're moving on from phase 1 to phase 2, which is all about spreading and integrating the XRP ledger technology around the world. The XRP ledger is at the heart of everything that RealFi does with their real coin, which is built into the XRP ledger. This is very important and opens up a $650 trillion market that could flow straight into the XRP ledger. There has been a lot of talk about this scale in the last 24 hours, so you need to understand it. The big news has finally spread. Look at this. Officially, banks have been given permission to use XRP on a large scale.